Good afternoon. I'm Sheriff Cutler of Pender County. This is District Attorney Ben David and Assistant District Attorney Jason Smith. I'm going to let District Attorney Ben David start this off.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for being here. Ben David, District Attorney for New Hanover and Pender County. We're here today to speak to the incident that occurred in the late evening hours of May 3rd, 2020 in the Avondale neighborhood in Pender County, involving a young man named Damian Shepard and an off-duty officer by the name of Jordan Kidda of the New Hanover County Sheriff's Office and several other people from the general public. When this incident occurred, it was immediately investigated. There has been extensive follow-up investigation with Pender County Sheriff's Office taking the lead in that criminal investigation. Also, when this incident occurred, the New Hanover County Sheriff's Office was immediately notified, and they conducted an internal affairs investigation that has been going on through today as well. Earlier today, I conducted a critical case review with approximately 10 prosecutors in my office. Our goal was to review the Constitution of the United States as well as the applicable statutory and case law of North Carolina to see what laws, if any, were violated by any member who was present there that night. As a result of that critical case review, I'm here to announce today that I am directing the Pender County Sheriff's Office to file criminal charges against two different individuals who were present there that evening. First, Jordan Kidda will be charged with forcible trespass, as well as breaking and entering, and willful failure to discharge duties. Now, willful failure to discharge duties relates specifically to an officer. I want to read the charging language. Where you willfully and corruptly violate an oath of office as a New Hanover County Sheriff's Deputy according to the true intent and meaning thereof to support and maintain the Constitution and laws of North Carolina, where he committed the offenses of misdemeanor breaking or entering and forcible trespass while armed and in uniform in a county that he was not duly sworn in and in furtherance of personal, not law enforcement purposes. That statute, which is 14-230 of the North Carolina General Statutes, goes on to say that anyone convicted of that offense has as one of the punishments removal from office as part of the sentence. Additionally, a Pender County resident who was present by the name of Austin Wood is further charged with going armed to the terror of the public, which is a Class 1 misdemeanor under common law. I have directed the Pender County Sheriff's Office to take out charges against both of those individuals. Again, I want to stress that this case has the highest priority of both Sheriff Cutler and Sheriff Ed McMahon, who at the time of this incident employed Jordan Kidda in the New Hanover County Detention Facility as a detention officer. I have been in constant communication with the Pender County Sheriff's Office since this occurred, and earlier today I spoke with Sheriff McMahon to inform him of my decision. I want to now read his statement that he asked that I share with you. This is Sheriff McMahon's statement related to the Jordan Kidda incident. Upon hearing of the incident involving Jordan Kidda, I immediately began an internal affairs investigation. Today, after speaking with the District Attorney and Sheriff Cutler, Jordan Kidda has been terminated from the New Hanover County Sheriff's Office. What I can tell you is that I know that there is intense interest by all of you being here. That's pretty obvious. We continue to receive many press inquiries, emails, phone calls about this. 3.6 and 3.8 of the ethics rules prohibit us from discussing the facts of the pending case. Obviously, the only appropriate place to do that is in a courtroom. What I want to urge everyone to do is please remain calm and to know that committed professionals are going to see that justice is done in a courtroom, not in the court of public opinion, and that we should wait and be patient for all the facts to come out to see what this case is and is not about before reaching any conclusions on what should happen next. This will continue to be a high priority for both sheriffs who I advise under Article 4, Section 18 of the North Carolina Constitution, and will also receive the highest priority of prosecutors like Jason Smith and I, who serve the people of Pender County. With that, I'll ask if there's any questions, or if Sheriff, you'd like to make any further statement.
Yes, I'd just like to say we appreciate the coordination we've had with the District Attorney's Office and with the New Hanover County Sheriff's Office and Sheriff Ed McMahon. There's been lots of questions about why there was not an arrest made on this evening that this incident occurred. Let me just say that I am very proud and pleased with the way our deputies handled this situation. Instead of rushing in and making a charge that evening, the situation was diffused. We felt like the threat was over, and this has allowed us to be able to give us some time to be able to investigate this situation and make some informed decisions. Like I say, with communication with the DA's office and the district attorney, we were able to come to an informed decision, and we wanted to make sure the right thing was done, and I feel like the right thing has been done. Thank you.
Yes, sir. It was reported that from the family itself and neighbors that 3 men showed up, all armed, one with a gun in his holster, one with a shotgun, and one with an AR-15. Will the third person be charged?
We urge anybody who believes they have information to come forward and report that to the Pender County Sheriff's Office. This is an ongoing investigation. We are confident with the charges we have established to date. We hold open the possibility that as additional information becomes available by any member of the general public, that we can revisit that issue. We have charged based on the available information we have to date, and are confident that that's fully supported under the statutes and case law of North Carolina. If there is anybody who believes they have information beyond what has already been given to us through extensive witness interviews, we urge them to call this office and not just go to the press with it. It's important that we be able to establish certain facts before we can proceed any further against any individual, whether they've been charged to date or not.
Can you confirm, either of you, whether this deputy is related to the young woman who was reported missing on Sunday night?
Jason, do you want to say anything about that?
Do we want to comment on it?
There's a limit to what we can comment on. I believe it is fair to say that there is a familial relation and they're not total strangers to each other. We're not going to get into the facts of a pending case for the obvious reasons I've already mentioned, 3.6 and 3.8 of the ethics rules. I'm confident that all of that will be developed in a courtroom, and that is certainly going to be a factor in this case.
We also understand that this group on Sunday night went to multiple houses, not only the house that we've covered thus far. Is there a number that you're looking at as far as how many places they went as a unit?
Again, I would just urge that if anyone believes that they were placed in fear or threatened in any way, or that their home was broken into or trespassed upon, that they contact the Pender County Sheriff's Office. We were not unmindful of the Constitution that says people have a right to bear arms, and the Second Amendment that includes people with carrying concealed weapons if they have permits, or not permits if those barrel lanes permit. We looked at the laws very carefully as it relates to this specific incident. Not everything that offends us is illegal under the criminal laws. What we are trying to do now is make sure that we are in a position to prove something beyond a reasonable doubt in a courtroom with people who are willing to testify. If others believe that they are victims for any reason, again, their venue is not going to the press. It's going to the Pender County Sheriff's Office so that we can look to see whether that can be charged in a courtroom.
I understand that Pender County Sheriff's Office needed time to gather information. Was there 2 deputies had arrived that night, followed by a captain? Was there not enough evidence collected that night to make an arrest?
There may have been enough evidence collected that night to make an arrest, but again, I will say, like I did just a few minutes ago, we didn't want to rush to any hasty decisions. We wanted to make an informed decision. The situation was diffused, and we didn't feel like there was any further threat that evening, and so we took a little more time to make sure we made an informed decision.
And
Thank
can
you.
I speak to that just for a second? Because I think this is a very important point. You know, no one's above the law and no one's beneath its protection. And one thing that we absolutely make certain of is that anyone who's violating the law be treated the same in terms of making sure that those laws are fairly applied to them. Because officers are very frequently in a position where they are going to be in a case where others are going to make allegations against them, and because it's so important to maintain the integrity of the law enforcement function to make absolutely certain that no one is wearing the badge who would violate the laws, that years ago we put in place a protocol in my district that remains to this day that they were following this night, which is that before an officer is criminally charged, unlike every other type of misdemeanor case where a member of the general public can go to the magistrate's office and swear out a warrant, a person cannot do that against a law enforcement officer. There has to be a criminal investigation conducted first. That's what these officers did. And there are some cases where an immediate arrest is made. For instance, a DWI, a domestic violence incident where someone is clearly in harm's way. The facts and circumstances will depend in terms of when someone gets arrested. They made the determination on this night that the situation was diffused, that there was not a likelihood that anybody, Deputy Kidda or anybody else in that group, was likely to provoke further violence, and that they had the time to conduct a thorough investigation. There are some other factors that went into why it's taken till right now to actually issue these charges, and those will come out in a courtroom in the fullness of time and would be inappropriate for us to talk about under 3.6 and 3.8 of the ethics rules. But suffice it to say that they were following protocol and procedure to protect the integrity of the process and to make sure that when cases this serious occur, they get our full attention, not just in the criminal courts, but in the internal affairs investigation. And that was done immediately pursuant to protocol. And they've been in constant communication with my office since that time. Any narrative to the contrary is simply a false narrative. Anything further?
Do we have a first court date?
No, we need to get the charges served first, and so we're in the process of getting those drafted and then served upon the two individuals that I've said. You'll be notified when they are for first appearance purposes, and we encourage you to follow this as it enters the criminal justice system. We believe that truth, trust, and transparency are at the key to everything we do, and we welcome the scrutiny that is inevitably going to be on this case and any that we handle. Thank you all very much for coming today. Thank you.